So yesterday was pig pickup day, and somebody needs to be at the farm or spend the night at the farm just in case we have any predators that come in for them. So the twins and I volunteered, but I wasn't prepared as for clothing wise. So thankfully my husband had clothes in the truck. So his sweater, his pajamas, this is, and my muck boots. Husband's clothes are not. This is farm attire. Whatever you can throw on to get you through the day is it. I'm going to show you how we make fermented feed. Our pigs are on a little bit of pig starter. Our supplier didn't have any pig starter, and of course me leaving things to the last minute realized, shit, we're getting pigs, I need pig starter. So all they had was 60-30-10. Our farmer gave us some pig starter, but it's not going to be enough. We've got pig starter on order, which is kind of silly, but we'll give it to them. But with our 60-30-10, we ferment it. Oh, and I lost the card for it that tells you what's in it. Shoot. I'll tell you what's in it later. Anyways. Because we have 7 pigs this year, we're going to be needing to ferment food, a lot more food at a time. Last year I think I had 3 or 4 pails going at a time. Last year I was doing 3 to 4 pails, and when one pail would empty, I'd fill it back up and ferment it again. And then we ended up getting like a half ton of food, which wasn't a fermented feed. It was more like compressed pellets. So we're going to be doing a combination of a lot of things just because of cost and stuff. So our pigs forage in the forest. Right now with them being piglets, they're just foraging what's in their paddock. We get them food scraps, so we have a few local stores and restaurants that give us food scraps. They get food scraps almost daily, and then if like we have no food scraps that time, then we'll just fill up on a grain product. And then they're forage. But it's hard to gauge with foraging how much they're taking in and how much they need. They do get a lot of space, and we're constantly moving them depending on the space that they're eating. But I have no issues with supplementing with a grain product. I just didn't want their whole diet to be grain. I wanted their diet to be a mixed bag of things. Fresh greens and foraging in our forest, grains to help supplement, and then all the food scraps. So it's all together, it works really, really well. But for fermenting, so I'm not entirely too sure what's all in this, but you can tell that there's oats, there's wheat, and definitely corn. Last year I was gifted a bunch of like old flour berries. There's a local baker here, and because of the pandemic, I'm assuming she couldn't use up all of the wheat berries and oats that she uses in her sourdough bread. So she gave a bunch to me, and it was awesome. I fermented it all. And for those of you who've never fermented, it's super easy. All fermenting is pretty much taking your product, because most of this product has like a natural wild yeast on it, or a natural yeast in it because of the sugars and stuff. It will naturally ferment on its own. Some things like, if you're fermenting sauerkraut, sometimes you need to add certain things to help it going. A lot of times with like sauerkraut, you add salt, and it's not to help it ferment, it's to keep the bad bacteria out. So basically what I've done is I fill a pail up 3/4 of the way, and then I'm going to fill it to the top with water. I'm going to put a lid on it, and it's just going to sit and stew and think about its actions. Within 12 hours, you can naturally start to see bubbles occurring. And within, like, I will start feeding this within 12 hours, but it's probably best to wait till about 24-ish. And then you'll use it up. And so typically, right now, when I'm first starting out with fermenting, I have a lot of pails to get together. So today I will probably get 2 pails going, and then tomorrow I'll start another pail, and the next day. So typically when it comes to fermenting, you don't want to have 4 pails all going at the same time. You kind of want to do one, like I said, today I'll do 2, tomorrow I'll do 1, and the next day I'll do 1. And then as my first pail is finishing, once my first pail finishes, I'll start that on a ferment, and we'll start feeding the pigs our second pail. And it just rotates like that. So every time you have an empty pail, you're filling it up and getting it fermented. So typically your pails are being turned over every 2 to 4 days. They've had 1 to 2 days to ferment, and then 2 to 4 days to eat. So within the week they're being used. That way your ferment is nice and strong and rich, and it's not going bad. Last year we didn't supplement our pigs with any sort of minerals or anything, mainly because they forage. So I felt for the most part they were okay. I know that a lot of people give a lot of their animals, I don't know specifically about pigs, molasses and apple cider vinegar. I'm going to do some research into that and probably give them a little bit of molasses and apple cider vinegar every day. Last year we didn't have a great setup with our feed. I'm hoping that this year we'll have a better setup with our feed, so I can have everything stored in containers that is more predator proof. But that is how you make fermented feed. I obviously won't be adding water to it right now because I got to tour this upstairs. But yeah, we're going to fill this up with water and then cap it. And we'll probably start using it tomorrow night. So that's what it looks like. And I've got 4 pails going. Fermenting, if you've ever fermented anything for yourself, you know that it's good for gut health. And so much of what we are, so much of our disease, our discomfort, or our joy comes from our gut. If we are eating good, healthy food, it shows on the outside, it shows mentally, physically, and emotionally. So the same concept goes for animals. If you have bad gut health, it can show up in a variety of ways, through bad hair, bad skin, pain, inflammation in joints, etc. So fermenting adds so much beneficial bacteria to the product that you're fermenting. And it also helps break down some proteins that, like for humans, we can't break down. Hi guys, I got food for you. They're so cute, those little bums. Oh, I should have gone any other way. Fermenting adds so much beneficial bacteria, plus like so many products out there, or so many food things out there like grains and such, it's hard on our bodies to digest it. It can't break down products in it. That's why things like when we talk about the gluten in wheat, it's not that we can't eat it, it's the gluten that's present in most bread products is not easily digestible in us, and it's showing up in our digestive health. But a lot of people who have what's the word? Intolerances to any forms of wheat can typically have sourdough. It's fermented. So what fermenting does is it breaks down the structure of something, making it more digestible on us. And that's why something like beans, why people advocate to soak beans. When you soak beans, it helps break down the it helps break down a certain component in beans so that your body can digest it more. When your body can readily digest something like beans, it won't show up in gas. But when you have gas from beans, it's because they weren't properly prepared and your body is having issues digesting them. So that is the basis of fermentation. And if you ferment, good on you, especially if you ferment for your animals or for your own health. But if you don't ferment, absolutely check it out. And if you do ferment, the wind. If you do ferment, let me know in the comments what you ferment, how you ferment. Do you do anything special? Do you do anything interesting? Here, guys. Normally we feed our pigs in a trough, but with them being so little, they can't readily get in it. And we just find that they push most of their food out. There, I'll start to count. That it's, they end up making more of a mess. So it's just easier to put it in the ground and let them have at her. So this is what our ferment looks like after a few days of sitting. This is like all the yeasts and sugars and stuff that are naturally occurring on the plant matter. And you'll notice bubbles, and your grains will feel softer. And when you smell it, it'll smell vinegary. And that's just grain and water. And this helps, again, make the grains more digestible. And it gives them a good probiotic, good bacteria kick.
Hi. Hi. Aren't you just sweet? Hey? Are you just sweet? Yeah. You are sweet. Hey. I like being curled up in the hay. Hey, what's so nice and warm in here? Yeah, hi. Hi. Yeah. The rest of your brothers and sisters are eating. Are you gonna have some food? No? This Biggie's sleeping. Hey, yeah, oh, a little scratch. Oh, you're gonna learn to love those scratches, hey?